Support for If You Lived Here comes from
The Ewan Foundation, committed to bridging cultural differences within the greater Washington, D.C. community.
And now, If You Lived Here, a WETA original series.
Hi, I'm John Begeny.
I'm Christine Louise. We're producers at WETA and longtime besties.
We love living in the D.C. area, but finding a place to live here can be tough, but it can also be a pleasant experience.
Join us as we tour 3 homes at 3 price points.
And try to guess the listing price without going over.
And find out what it would be like if you lived here. Hey, I think a parking space is opening. Let's go.
Hi, Megan.
Hey, guys.
Hi, Megan.
John, Christine, welcome to Mount Pleasant.
Wow, this is a beautiful neighborhood, and I know very little about Mount Pleasant.
Well, I'm excited to help you explore what we call our village in the city. I personally have lived in the neighborhood for about 10 years, but my husband, who is also my high school sweetheart, grew up here.
Aww.
His family has owned a home on Park Road that they've restored over the course of 45 years. And my mother-in-law was part of a group of people that fought to make this a historic district and has been really involved in keeping Mount Pleasant, Mount Pleasant.
So, Megan, when did this area become a historic district?
It officially became a historic district in 1978. So these row homes are really representative of what you'll see a lot through the neighborhood. These were mostly built in the early 1900s.
How far back do these go?
These are deceptively large homes. They're gonna go, almost a half a block to the alley behind here.
Oh, that is a good size.
A lot of people have apartments, like English basements
Right.
or in-law suites.
Well, they're beautiful.
Yeah, you probably have over 3,500 square feet of living space, really.
And they have each their own identity, block to block.
But I have to ask, so the historic district, they're cool with this?
So you can paint your home, but if they said, we want to rip out all our windows and take down these columns and totally change the front of the house, that wouldn't fly.
That'd be like, no.
Yeah.
But there's nowhere in the guidelines that says you cannot put a tricycle on the front of your facade. It
It's
says
really
a lot
a
about the
neighborhood institution,
Yeah.
this home.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, 16th Street. Well, I have passed this building so many times in my lifetime, Megan, and I've always wanted to see what's inside.
And now you're gonna get to see it as property number 1 today.
Super excited about that.
So this building is a Harry Wardman. It was built in 1917, and it's very Beaux-Arts.
So what makes it a Beaux-Arts style building?
Just looking from the outside, there are some amazing details, these arched windows. The units have these great balconies, and all of them have these beautiful French doors to outdoor space.
And they don't make them like this.
No, and I'm just looking at the architectural detail on the windows.
Yeah.
Isn't that lovely?
And this has always been featured as one of the best addresses in D.C.
Oh, that's
All
double
right.
cool.
Should we take a look inside?
Yes, lead the way.
All right.
Wow, this does not disappoint.
I did not expect it to be so open.
Yeah, me neither. And it's shocking because, as a Wardman building, this is like open concept before there was open concept.
You know what also makes it feel so much more expansive are the high ceilings.
Let's start in the kitchen.
Okay, naturally.
Well, this is interesting.
I love how they've extended the kitchen kind of out into this area.
They sure have. They bumped out the counter a little bit and added this cabinet.
All right, a good space.
Yeah, nice kitchen.
It's not a huge kitchen, but you
No.
certainly don't feel cramped. Plus, plenty of cabinet space.
Yes, and they've put these nice little pools all over the place.
Yeah.
Nice little touch. That glass tile really pulls your eye.
It's a pop.
It is for this kitchen. How about those counters, huh?
These are the butcher block countertops,
Mm.
and I've always liked them. And they're really a cost-effective way of putting in a counter.
Are they hard to maintain?
As long as they're sealed right from the beginning, and you can condition them throughout the years.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It's not. It's
Okay,
not.
let's go see the rest of this
All
great
right.
place. And here we have a bedroom.
Oh, but not just a bedroom. Look how big it is.
This is huge.
And it has a full bath.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing there's another full bedroom with an ensuite.
Well, let's go find it.
Ooh, but not before we check out the balcony.
Ah, look at this, a room with a view.
Okay, wow, what a view.
Oh, this is nice.
But also, when you're this high up, you really see the architectural details of this amazing building.
And the concrete work. These balconies are sturdy.
They are sturdy.
They are
okay?
rock sturdy and
All right,
ornate and
I would
beautiful.
be happy to enjoy my coffee out here every morning.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, but I think it's time to head on in.
All right.
Okay. It's
Well,
hard to come in from such a nice spot.
I know, there's even a breeze out there.
But
Beautiful.
this is an even nicer spot.
Yeah.
What a nice living area.
Well, there's so much living space in this place, but yes, very nice TV area. But it's the owner suite we were looking for, right?
It is, and it's just as big. It has its own bathroom.
Well, my favorite part is this window with those views.
That is amazing. And, you know, with the windows, obviously they've been updated, so, you know, they're cost efficient, but I love it that you can just open them and let the breeze come in.
So nice. I want to live here.
I wouldn't mind living here. Let's check out the bathroom.
Oh, this is nice.
Spacious enough. It does have a single sink, but
Sure does.
But you have two bathrooms.
We've got two bathrooms, so it's move-in ready, and
You know, move-in ready is a good thing.
yes.
Okay, guys, so this was your first home tour in Mount Pleasant. How was it?
It's a great place. I love this open concept.
And the windows, the natural light coming in is spectacular. Now the big question, is there any parking?
So there's unassigned parking in the lot.
Oh, that's good.
There's not like just 5 spots outside that you have to battle for.
There's not 5. There's more than that.
And the metro is so close too, right?
It's just a few blocks from the Columbia Heights Metro, so green and yellow line, just a few blocks away. This unit is about 1,300 square feet.
Okay.
2 bedrooms that are both very spacious, as you
Yes,
saw.
very
2
big.
baths. Any other questions you have?
Condo fees.
Yeah.
The condo fees for this unit are $692 a month.
All right, Megan, got a price. In my head, the price is $640,000 on the nose. Oh, it's a good poker
Okay, I
face,
know.
Megan.
I was trying to
Not
read
gonna lie.
a little bit. You're not really helping.
Lots of
I
poker
was gonna
practice.
say.
Lots.
All right, I'm gonna go high. I probably regret it, but I'm gonna go on the high end. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your support. I'm going to go in at $725,000.
So the list price for this unit was $665,000. So John, you were very close to the list
That
price.
was lucky.
I can't wait to show you the next properties. They're both very different, but both in this wonderful neighborhood of Mount Pleasant.
Let's
All
go.
right,
I'll follow you.
let's go.
After you.
Thank you.
What I love about Mount Pleasant is I feel like I get the best of both worlds. So this is an amazing, beautiful neighborhood. It's very kid-friendly. You got the city right there within walking distance. But then also, if I go that way, then I'm in the woods.
I would describe it as a little haven in the middle of a city. It's a very, very neighborhood, quiet vibe.
Somewhere along the line, people realized the historic value of Mount Pleasant, and I think that's a good thing.
I was literally just driving around, checking out neighborhoods, and I found Mount Pleasant, and I was just blown away at the beauty of it. So at the turn of the century, people were looking to move out of the row houses downtown into an area that had a little bit more space and more trees, and this filled the ticket. The architects who did the majority of buildings in Mount Pleasant are some of the most well-known architects in D.C. in the late 19th and 20th century. When my husband and I first moved here in the late 70s, it was not a desirable neighborhood. It had gone through the fairly typical waves of urban ups and downs, and it was after the assassination of Martin Luther King. So there was a lot of white flight, and a lot of, especially these bigger homes, were either abandoned or turned into halfway houses. And within a year of moving in here, there were demolition permits for some of the biggest houses in Mount Pleasant to put up very, very dense apartment buildings. And it became obvious that unless you fight for it, it's not going to be there. And that's kind of what the preservation is. This neighborhood is just very desirable. If we had not had the historic district, I really think this neighborhood would not bear any resemblance to what it is today.
So the folks from the 70s really opened up, I think, doors for the community that really came in mass during the 80s. So in the 80s, well, we had a huge growth of Central Americans, Salvadorans, Guatemalans in this area. And Mount Pleasant was very much a village feeling, if it were, it's like a pueblo. Many people in our home countries come from smaller communities, and Mount Pleasant had that feeling of being a small community.
In the 1980s, I was an elementary school teacher in my country. And during the Civil Wars, at a time, like 300 teachers had been killed. I had to leave. This is really, to me, the heart of Del Barrio, and for the Salvadorian, this was a corner, and you can still see people that have been here for many years. We didn't have internet, so this was a place where we get the news. This was the place when we knew about family or what's going on. That was very important. So to me, that was my pedacito from El Salvador, right in the capital of the United States.
The story of the Central American migration is really a story of being invisible and not having the reasons that have propelled us to this country even recognized for a decade, and therefore provided no support. La Clínica was born as a response to those health needs during the Mount Pleasant uprising, back then known as the riots, now reclaimed as the uprising. There was a new generation who were protesting the shooting of a person here on the street. It was a huge moment for us as a community, painful as it was, because finally people started to say, like, who are all these people? Why are they so mad? Why are they here? This is really like the heart of the Latino neighborhood. The Little El Salvador is a name that I know some of us are trying to claim, right, for this area. And it really is very much an important benchmark, for coming to this country. There's no denying that the changes that started to happen in Washington, D.C. In 1990s pushed a lot of people out who could no longer afford to live here. I do think there's been a lot of efforts in Mount Pleasant through a number of different associations to preserve the neighborhood for the people that had claimed it in the 80s. I think it's going to take a lot of us making sure that not just culturally, but economically, Mount Pleasant maintains the diversity that people enjoy about the neighborhood.
All right, guys, welcome to your second property in Mount Pleasant.
I feel like we're in a whole different part of town, and literally we are just blocks from house number 1.
So we are across the street from trails of Rock Creek Park. As someone who lives in this neighborhood, I am in there every day. We call it our urban backyard.
We have a lot of different styles up and down this road.
So this is a unique block. It was designed by a prominent architect and built in 1938.
I was thinking more 60s for some reason.
And I can see how you would think that because it's very mid-century. Well, why don't you guys go ahead, take a peek inside, and I'll wait for you out here.
Sounds good. Okay, ready? All right.
Well, hello, little charmer.
Okay, you have to admit that the focal point of this room is this corner window.
Oh, yeah, that's really nice. But this house has a lot of nice details, like that arch to the dining room and this traditional staircase.
I guess I wasn't quite expecting such a traditional staircase with the outside.
No, there's a contradiction, from the outside to the inside. The inside's a little eclectic.
It is, but it's really cozy.
It is. And here we are in what looks like the dining room and the kitchen.
Okay, so it's an eat-in kitchen and really the only dining space in the house.
Tight space, little space, but nicely done. Nice.
Yeah, I like the marble countertops.
Yes.
They kept it light and bright with the white cabinets.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cute little kitchen. Is it a cook's kitchen? I don't know about that.
I don't know, but you know what's missing?
What?
Dishwasher.
Oh, no.
No dishwasher.
No dishwasher.
I have to have a dishwasher.
Well, I'll tell you what makes up for the lack of a dishwasher, and that's this garden out back.
I would agree with you 100%. This is like a whole other addition to this home.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is so great because this is like a multi-tiered garden. It feels like an extension of the park, which is just blocks away.
And that's what makes this house such a jewel.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a nice additional living space.
Well, it's a small space. It's a little cold. It's a basement.
I think it's kind of nice. nice. I do like the ceramic tile down here. It gives it a different feel and look, and it's perfect for a basement.
Yep. And utility room.
Okay, it's actually a good-sized utility room.
Is it a quarter bath?
I think
that's
call it
a quarter bath. All right, well, there you go. Utility room, washer, dryer, and door to the outside.
Okay, so second level, and we have bedroom number 1.
Yes.
Okay. You know, it's not the biggest bedroom,
No.
but when you look at this outdoor space, it doesn't feel cramped.
No, you can see the garden in the back.
And closet space.
Closets, check.
Okay, shall we go on?
You shall.
Okay, here we have the bathroom.
Okay.
This is nice. This has been remodeled.
Well, it's the only bathroom up here, but they did a really nice job remodeling this.
I know, there's a lot of features we like. We love the honeycomb tile.
Yes, done in marble. And I like the subway tile, and it goes with the skylight, which
Your
is
favorite.
Yeah, that's one of those old features,
Okay,
and it
but
kind
wait,
of all
I
goes
gotta check
together.
something out. So I still want to turn this on, but I'm not sure how. You see, it looks a little... Oh, there we go. That's nice.
You know, what's nice about that, it has that old look.
Yeah,
The hardware, which
it
goes
does.
with the subway tile. It's good looking, and I love the mirror and the sconces. Okay, bedroom number 2.
Okay, again, not a huge bedroom.
New.
But it's that corner window that makes this room so expansive. But you know, there is only one bathroom on this floor.
True, but 2 bedrooms up here, 1 bathroom, that's okay.
Oh yeah, it's manageable, it's manageable.
Okay, let's head downstairs.
Sounds good.
All right.
Hey, Megan.
Hi, guys. How was your tour?
You know, I don't want to speak for you, but I think I can speak for both of us when I say, you know, the outdoors was not lost when you stepped inside this home.
There's a saying, you know, that good things come in small packages, and that would be this.
I like that saying. So let me give you a little rundown. So we have 2 bedrooms and 1.5 baths, a little bit over 1,200 square feet total. No parking space for this row home. And of course, you have just all of this fabulous outdoor space and access to Rockford Park.
I did go a little high on the last one, so I think I'm gonna be a little more conservative. So I'm gonna come in at a listing price of $825,000.
Okay, final answer?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's a very good guess.
Well, thank you.
Tina Louise. But I'm going to, I don't know if I should go high or low, but I'm gonna go for 800 on the nose.
Oh, so you wanted lower.
Okay. All right. Well, the final list price for this row home was $845,000. So I'm really excited to show you the next home in Mount Pleasant. And there's some really neat history associated with the home.
Okay, well, we love history.
Yeah, and I want to learn more about Mount Pleasant, so
Absolutely. Well, let's walk around the neighborhood.
let's hit the streets.
All right.
One of the big assets of Mount Pleasant is its neighborliness.
I feel like I feel hope in this community. A lot of people that care a lot here. I like to say that the residents of Mount Pleasant are quietly changing the world. They're not going to tell you they're doing that, but they're doing that in ways small and big.
My husband Phil always tells the story that I sent him to look at Mount Pleasant because I knew that's where I wanted to live. Well, when we moved here, it was so diverse. So it was just fabulous to have African Americans, have whites, have Hispanics. It was really a great community to raise our kids in. So the neighborhood in the last 10 years has become very white, yeah. So the diversity now is on Mount Pleasant Street because it has diminished within the neighborhoods. One of the main things that I'm involved in is this program called Meet the Street. The businesses here on Mount Pleasant Street are mainly mom and pop. And so about once a month, we'll come up to Mount Pleasant Street. We'll organize a dinner at a restaurant. We'll meet the owner. The owner will tell us how long they've been on Mount Pleasant Street, where they came from, why they chose Mount Pleasant to have their business. And it's just such a good feeling to bring people up here because this is their community as well as ours.
We're in the best neighborhood in Washington, D.C., Mount Pleasant. My partner, Emily, and I, we wanted to create a place that we wanted to shop in that kind of had that farmer's market 7-day-a-week vibe. So we try and have a story behind every single product that's in this store. The story may be, this is a very cool honey that's made here in DC. So we really like to know who's making the things that we're selling and just the story behind that as well.
I live a block from here, so it was so nice to have a place like this in the neighborhood. But it's also a place where, you know, you could make an average, inexpensive meal. It's not as shishi a place as people think it is. So I think it still serves the whole neighborhood, not just a select part of it.
So this neighborhood is really majority row homes, but I'm gonna show you something special today, which is one of the only handful of detached homes in the neighborhood.
So tell us about the history of this home.
When 16th Street was built to come all the way up to Mount Pleasant, they had to move 32 homes along 16th Street. And that happened in 1903.
All right, let me get this straight. So this house, they physically picked up and moved.
However they did it back in the day. And apparently the weather was not great. So it actually sat in the middle of the street for a few days until people complained about it, and I heard it got a ticket.
You know how they hand out tickets in D.C. So wait, that was 1903?
Some things don't change.
So back then, that ticket probably was like 37 cents. That was a lot of money back then, yeah.
Take a look, and I'll meet you outside.
Okay, see you in a second.
All right.
Look at the foyer in this home.
Wow,
Okay,
what
now
a
this has
beauty.
been renovated.
Yeah, you think?
Okay, this is the tough part. Where does your eye take you first?
Well, this is a grand foyer here.
Mine takes me right to these windows because
Yeah.
it's almost like an architectural design in itself.
That lovely old brick, that texture through the window, it's art into itself.
Okay, so we have living space.
Yep, very
and
nice.
Nice fireplace.
Nice
Victorian
fireplace.
Okay, so.
Nice details, woodwork. Lovely, really good looking.
Keep moving this way?
Yeah. Wow, look at this room. This is a stunning dining room.
And you know the features that I like?
Yep,
The paneled wainscoting.
for sure.
And you know what I'm also noticing? You know these corner pieces?
Yeah.
They add a great architectural element, but at the same time, if you've ever put crown molding up, sometimes it's really hard to get
It
those
is
cuts
hard, I've
perfect.
done it before. Then is this another
Storage?
pantry?
No, it's the laundry room.
Oh.
Well, I guess, you know, you take your dirty napkins and just toss them in
And
there.
shroom.
All right, so I guess my eye is drawing me here
This
next.
house just doesn't stop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is nice.
And it's screened in.
With all these trees outside.
I probably eat every meal out here during the summer.
Very nice feature.
Okay, so let's continue into the kitchen. Oh, look at the light coming through.
This is a good sized kitchen. Not too big, not too small.
But it's a lot of that mix of new features and embracing some of the original details of this home. We've got the exposed brick
Sure do.
and
Look up. That ceiling with the exposed beams is really nice. And you feel the age of the house.
yeah, but did you notice the numbers?
No.
Okay, so you see you go from 300 to 301. I bet that's 302. I wonder if that's marking feet.
Oh, very smart. And take a look out the window at the backyard.
Well, that's the beauty of a detached home, too. Wow. Okay, so let's continue the tour.
All right.
All right, so we have a half bath.
Uh-huh.
And, oh, we got a small basement.
Basement.
Okay.
Up we go.
Sounds good.
Oh, this is nice to have a staircase in the back of the house, right?
It is.
You have
It's
to run
narrow,
the front.
but, you know, it's your second staircase.
Oh, so first full bath up here.
You know, it's nicely done.
Yeah.
You know, nicely remodeled, clean, white.
Love it. Nice updates.
Oh, now this, what a fun kids' room.
It's a
I mean,
great
obviously you
kids'
can
room.
use it for a guest room.
Oh,
or for,
sure.
you know, when your kids get older, but really cute. All right, so we
Down
have
this main-
another bedroom.
Oh, look how cute this is.
A little smaller, but still a good sized room, actually.
Yeah.
So, oh.
Well, I think we have arrived in the
I
owner's
think this is the owner's suite. Yes.
Oh, this does not disappoint.
No.
What a space.
I mean, obviously we love our natural light, but
Yeah.
boy, your eyes are just drawn to the beams.
Yeah, very grand.
Okay, so I noticed the barn doors, and I love the blue.
Yes, good pop of
Okay.
color. It's a luxury bath.
Oh, what a nice bathroom. We got the double vanities, nice size shower, and I do love the tile work.
I think there must be, yep, look at this. Talk about an owner suite that has everything. The park is literally right there beyond those homes.
You know, as much as I'd just like to stay up here and chill for a while,
I
I
know.
think we better go meet
This was
Megan.
a special one. Let's do it.
Okay.
Hi.
What a great backyard, and the sun came out.
You made the sun come out.
I do my best. What can I say?
Job well done.
Well, you did do your best because this home was wonderful.
Yeah. So much to love about this house. So many features. Where do we start?
Well, you know, I think being a detached home, you obviously have more windows, and the light that comes in through those windows just can make a room.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things.
And how can we forget the bedroom? Drama!
Doors were actually found in an alley by the owner, lovingly restored, painted. They replaced every individual piece of glass.
See, I love stories
We love
like
that.
Yes.
That's the type of people we are.
There is a kitchenette area in the lower level.
Oh.
There is a wood shop, workshop in the lower level.
Wood shop?
I
How did I
know.
miss
You're
that?
speaking her language right here.
I'm gonna have to go back in there.
Okay, so let me give you the details of the house.
Yep.
3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, so about 3,700 square feet overall. And the home was technically built in 1882. As we discussed, it was moved to this location in 1903, and then there have been many iterations and improvements done to the home over the years.
Okay, based on everything we said.
I gotta get the
have it.
game face on.
Put your game face on.
All right.
My number is very straightforward. It's $1,750,000.
Okay.
I'm gonna go in at 1.9 million.
Okay, so the actual list price for this home was $1,775,000. You are pretty much spot on. I have one question.
Yes.
Will you help me price my next listing?
Absolutely.
Okay, and if you have time, maybe we can grab a coffee from Ellie, our local coffee shop.
We always have time for
You're
coffee.
speaking our language, Megan.
All right, let's do it.
So,
Thanks.
while we're there, do you think you can give me some pointers on guessing?
Oh, you don't need pointers. You're a pro.
That's
Really?
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
We win some, we lose some.
Honestly, I'm so smitten with this neighborhood. There's nothing really I could say that I don't love.
So if you lived here, you would definitely want to go to the Raven Grill if you haven't.
Yeah, the Raven is a fixture in this neighborhood.
Raven is a great dive bar. I don't want to advertise it too much because it's going to get packed, but
If you lived in Mount Pleasant, during the summer when your windows are open, you can wake up to the sound of gibbons calling to each other in the National Zoo to the point where they wake you up.
If you lived here, you have to go to Ercillas for the pupusas. They're the best pupusas here, and I think anywhere, and you have to be prepared to wait, and it will be worth the wait.
To find out more about living in the Washington metro area, visit WETA.org/if you lived here. Support for If You Lived Here comes from
The Ewan Foundation, committed to bridging cultural differences within the greater Washington, D.C. community.